on the original start, I saw you went low and you decided to stay low. Was that the original plan? Because you kind of, I don't want to say you got lucky, but it worked out well for you in the end because Harding ended up flipping up top. So it made sure that you didn't get caught up in that.
Yeah, look, the plan was just the way that track races was to not try and get to the top on entry into one, was to always, I think the inside row there, the only hope you've got is to slide it up out of two.
Yeah.
And if you can take a fair bit of time out of one entry there, if you're starting on the inside, obviously you lose it on exit, but if you can get to the top before them, you can make them lift, and that's about the only hope you got. It's just got so much momentum to it, and when you're coming from a reasonably standing still start out of 4, you cannot get up enough speed to carry to stick the wing enough. I think in 1 and 2, where them guys starting on the outside, they start so high out of 4, they can get that whole front straightaway, and they're wing planted into 1. So Priolo was on the pole, and Harding was out of 2, and my plan was to slot in wherever I could. Wash up, get up to the bank and out of 2. And I think if you try to get to the bank and into 1, the guy behind you on the inside would have then slid you. So you sort of just got to get as much time as you can on entry and just see where you can slot in. And I could see that Priolo was going up track and Harding hadn't lifted, so I kind of didn't know how that was going to work out. So I was happy to stay a little bit lower. Probably didn't need 3 of us up there bouncing off each other. So that was just changed my mind mid-corner when I seen them two someone was going to have to lift or not lift there, and something was going to happen. So I just tried to stay a little bit lower to miss whatever may or may not happen there.
Yeah, you're lucky you stayed out of it. So then on the restart, I'm not sure if you would have known or not, but obviously Callum Williamson got involved in the crash and damaged his top wing. I know when I was racing, if you saw someone in front of you or around you that had like a damaged car, maybe like a nose wing that had been pushed all the way back, or a damaged wing, or something like that, or a tire that might have been going down, especially on a restart, I was thinking like, you definitely need to get around this guy as quick as possible to not get held up. Did you notice his wing was damaged, and was that something that played on your mind on the restart?
I did. I didn't see him get into the accident because I just sort of lost from the right sideboard on the original accident who was in it and who wasn't, and who got around it and that. But I pulled up behind him on the front straight on the red, and paid close attention to Buzzy's body language and stuff, and what attempts they made on the wing, and they didn't really make any attempt. It was all sideboard on the right hand side, so it hadn't pulled the wing back or twisted it, or something was going to snap off, because you could just tell by the urgency they weren't worried about it. So I figured it was just a little bit of superficial damage. It didn't look like it was going to cost him snap off or cost him a race, as far as something actually breaking and the wing coming off or anything like that. So they didn't look stressed. So I figured they were probably half all right.
Yeah, it's probably good that you kind of just bide your time with him, because he was actually pretty fast, throughout the whole race, and he got out to a decent lead, and he did a really good job. But I noticed about watching the replay, watching the video on Dirt Vision, is about 7 laps in, yourself and Callum, he went to the bottom. I think it was in turn 3, or not the bottom, but rather than running the top the whole way around, decided to cheat the corner and come low, and you followed him. Why was that you guys started to run low? I've never been to Perth, but it just seemed a bit weird that you guys all of a sudden had both gone down low. Did you see something there, or were you just trying something different?
It was a little bit odd for that place to race the way it did. I didn't expect that. Actually, earlier in the race, I was higher into 3 than him. It did get that little whoop section there before the pit gate, which was making it a little bit hard. But I was trying to enter a little bit higher than him into 3, and he was kind of sliding himself from the get go. And I measured myself a little bit off him with a higher entry, and I was about the same. And then I tried his line after a few laps and was about the same. Still, like, we were pretty even there. And then about probably 10 or 12 laps in, I split between what he was doing and what I was doing originally, and I just tried to get back to the cushion in 3 and 4 by about the middle of the corner or a little bit later.
Sure.
I was finding when I was just getting to the cushion out of 4, I was getting a little bit sideways.
Yeah.
Little bit sideways. The next, it's just killing my front straightaway speed. Sure. So once I started to do that and get to the cushion between 3 and 4, a little bit earlier than he was, I felt that was better for our car. And then I started to catch him from then on. So it's just, you know, I probably had the benefit of changing little things throughout the race where he didn't have that benefit. He done a great job. And he's probably the benchmark around that place this year. But I think that race probably just hurt him through leading because it was a bit of a unique track. Normally that joint's just on the fence and don't lift, and it's not always that technical. And it was kind of cool because you actually had to lift and roll the car through the middle of the corner. Normally you're just wide open. So it was fairly different racetrack than I think they normally have.
Yeah, it's such a momentum track, or at least it looks like that. And especially, like, I mean, we both know that when a track slickens off, momentum means everything. To gain ground on someone, it doesn't just mean you can nail a corner and get it right and you've made ground. It takes lap after lap to really make progress, and it's so easy to lose. But then I noticed midway through the race that Dane Kingshot started to battle with you. Explain your mindset then when someone passes you, when you feel like you've been making ground on a leader and things are working out for you. It hurts a bit, you know, kind of deflating when someone passes you for position and it feels like, okay, now I've got to deal with more than what I thought.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't expect someone to come at us there in 1 and 2. And as I said before, I was just trying to measure myself off Callum and just chip away and make little things that I was doing better without taking huge risks. And then you see that car that you didn't expect to see, and it's like, hey, I've got to start getting this together a little bit quicker than I hoped. So a little bit. You probably had a bit more urgency to. I kind of felt like it was. I don't know. Not that I felt like it. I was just thinking at the time. I was just so focused on Callan. I wasn't really expecting anyone else to join the party, and probably just adds a bit more urgency to stop trying to make your little half car lengths or your meter a lap here. You're gonna have to get after it a bit.
Kind of worked out well that you had the caution come out right when you guys were battling, and you end up starting on for the restart in second. Was that something on the restart that you had to be mindful of to go, hey, we're all bunched up now. I don't really have a lot of time to muck around. I love what you did on the restart actually is I think you dive did you dive low on the restart to kind of try something different rather than, you know, you both just running around the top?
Yeah, well, it just comes back to that urgency. The yellow come out just after me and Kinshot were sort of sliding each other and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, if I keep doing what I'm doing, he's going to do that to me on the restart. So I needed to do it to Callum as far as, you know, to get offline and try something different. Otherwise, kind of felt like at the time, right at that moment, if I kept doing what I was doing, he's obviously, you know, he slid me for a reason because he's on me. So I need to, as I said, show a little bit more urgency and mix it up a little bit. And that's what we did on the restart. It didn't get me right on him on that restart, but I knew the bottom was there. So I kind of felt when we got to lap traffic that he would not know that was there. So I had sort of, once it all settled down, I felt like I had that up my sleeve. Once he had someone on his line, I had that line up my sleeve. And then he seen me down the back straight and tried to cover me into 3, which was the right thing to do. But I'd moved across behind him and actually got around the outside of him 3 and 4. He thought I was going to be on the inside of him, and I just got to cross him down the back straight, and that's what set up the pass.
Yeah, were you a bit surprised that you ended up getting around him? And then were you also thinking that someone like beforehand Kendrick had passed you, done similar sort of thing to what Kingshot kind of, you know, slid you and showed his nose? Were you kind of thinking, okay, yes, I've got the lead, but I've really got to hustle here to make sure I drive away? Those last few laps would have been pretty important for you.
Yeah, there was a bit of rubber going down in 3 and 4, and that's how I sort of got Callum. He seen me down the back. He was in the rubber before that, and then when he seen me down the back straight, he went to cover, which actually dragged himself out of the rubber a little bit. And when I crossed him, I tried to get back to 4 wheels in the rubber. It was slight, it wasn't heavy rubber, but it was there. which is why you're seeing a lot of the cars weren't running right around the fence at the end there in 3 and 4. It was definitely cleaned up there. And I didn't, after that, once we had the lead, I just concentrated on momentum and car speed and that. I did watch a replay. I seen Kendrick was knocking the wall down and really having a crack. But there was one lap there. He got it took a bit of time out of me, but the last 5 or 6 laps, it didn't seem to be doing him any favours from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, you seem to be, work out well in the end for you. I mean, you got the win, but it just, I'm watching the race and I'm like, I can't see anywhere here where he's really, making any ground or how he's going to do it. But I mean, that's a thing. Your mindset has to be, hey, we're still in the hunt here. He wasn't driving away from you, and obviously you were learning where to go while he had no idea what was going on behind him. But it is really difficult to tell yourself, hey, I need to stay in the fight here, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a long race. You got to keep yourself in position to capitalize when opportunities arise. And I didn't feel there was a lot of opportunity in the first half of the race. I just felt like my mindset was I just had to stay in there and stay in a decent position and wait for lap traffic and stuff, and that would make people move off lines or whatever. And it kind of played out that way. We probably didn't feel like we got a lot of lap traffic. The first time we hit traffic, I didn't think I'd done a very good job in the traffic, and I think he probably gained a little bit of. But once I think we had another restart then, and then I felt after that I was better. So I don't know. I think he may have faded a little bit as the race went on. I think he was pretty good early, and I think we didn't really fade for one reason or another. We just we kept solid car speed throughout the race.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Sprinker Hub YouTube channel. You can also find Sprinker Hub on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.